Welcome. Today, we are going to go over an introduction to basic Ayurvedic concepts. And before we begin, I would like to start with a chant. So you can just place your feet on the floor, put your hands together, and close your eyes. And you could join. Om. Namami Dhanvantaramaddevam Sara Sare Vandita Pada Padmam Loke Jirarak Pahamrachanasham Tata Ramesham Vivadao Shadinam O Shanti 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 Hari Om. Repeat after me. Peace in my body, peace in my mind, peace always surrounding my soul. Thank you for joining. And now I'm going to screen share the first mind map. Okay. All right, so I am going to shut off my video so that you can just see the screen. Okay. All right, so this is the introduction to basic Ayurvedic concepts. We are going to start on the upper left-hand corner where it says dosha location. So Vata, the main location is the colon. For Pitta, the main location is the small intestine. And for Kapha, the main location is in the chest. The doshas of the mind, Rajas and Tamas. And the doshas, biological energies are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, right? Vata is made up of air and space. Pitta is made up of fire and water, and Kapha is made up of earth and water. So how I remember that, Vata, the two air and space, you can't see them, right? Pitta, fire and water. I always remember like a burning building. How are we putting out the fire? With water. Also, people who drink a ton of water, they could end up with low digestive fire, right? Because they're putting so much water on that fire. It's just completely out. Kapha, earth and water. You mix it together and it looks like mud. Okay. The sub-doshas, main locations. So for Vata, there is Pranavata. It is located in the head and heart. Udanavata, located in the chest. Samanavata, located in the digestive system. Vyanavata, in the heart. Apanavata, in the lower intestine. And as you're going through these locations, you should try to put your hands over those areas to help you with recall. This is also really important when you have a client coming in with a specific health ailment in a location. It can very quickly be able, you can very quickly be able to locate what dosha and what subdosha is affecting this person. So Pachaka Pitta in the GI tract, Ranjaka Pitta in the liver and spleen, Sadaka Pitta over the heart, Alochaka Pitta in the eyes, and Rajaka Pitta in the skin. Kapha, Alavambaka Kapha in the chest, Kletaka Kapha in the stomach and intestine, Tarpaka Kapha in the head, Bodhaka Kapha in the oral cavity, and Shleshaka Kapha in the joints. So pop quiz. Which three sub-doshas are in the stomach? You can quickly see here, we have Samanavata in the digestive system. We have Pachaka Pitta in the GI tract. And then we have Kletaka Kapha in the stomach and the intestine. Okay. And now we're going to go over the physical and metaphysical parts of the body. So the physical parts, the dhatus, which are the tissues, the malas, which is the waste components, and the agni, the digestive transformation. The metaphysical part, the mind, soul, and subtle elements, the 10 mantras. With the physical parts, with the dhatus, we're going to go over the 7 dhatus and their functions. The first one is rasa, also known as plasma, which is sara. And if you don't know what sara means, you can quickly glance down to the 20 tattvas and their qualities, and you could see the 10 pairs and or the gravati gunas, the 10 pairs. Right here it says sara, and it is liquidy. Okay, so sara, liquidy, the rasa or the plasma is nourishing all the dhatus, and it is made of water up. Rakta is the blood, and it maintains the life activities and supplies prana or oxygen to all components of the body. And it is made up of water up and fire, Agni. Mamsa, also known as the muscle tissue. Its covering protects internal organs. It is made of earth, Prithvi. Meda, the adipose tissue or the fat tissue, is a lubricating and gives strength to the body. Made of water and earth, Ap and Prithvi. Asti, the bone, is supporting for the body. Made of earth and air, Prithvi and Vayu. Maja, the bone marrow and the nerve tissue. It's filling, supports the brain and the nervous tissue and the bone marrow. It is made of water up. Shukra, the reproductive tissue. It is for the formation of embryos and is made of water up. I'm going to go over the upadhatus, the subtissue of the dhatus. So the rasa, the subtissue of rasa, is stanya and artava, the breast milk and the menstrual flow. If someone is depleted, then they may have very little breast milk or very little menstrual flow. And vice versa. If they're overnourished, they may have excessive amounts of breast milk, excessive amounts of menstrual flow. Rakta, the subtissue of rakta is sira and kadara, the blood vessels and the fascia. The upadhatu, the subtissue of mamsa, is the muscle fat and layers of the skin, vasa and twacha. For Meda, the upadhatu of Meda is sira and snayu, the lymphatic vessels and the tendons. The upadhatu of Asti is teeth and cartilage. There is no upadhatu for Maja or Shukra. Dhatu Mala, the waste of the tissues. For Rasa, it's Kapha. For Rakta, it's Pitta. For Mamsa, it's Kamalas, waste from natural openings. Meda, it's sweat. Asti, it's nails and hair, things that you cut and throw away. For Maja, it's oily components of the skin secretions. And Shukra, there's no waste products for Shukra. We're going to quickly go over the 13 srotas, or the 13 channels. Pranavaha, the channel carrying vital life energy and air. Udakavaha, the channel of carrying water and water metabolism. Anavaha, the channel of carrying food. So those first three, the channel carrying air, water, and food, vital components for the body, those are all going inside the body. The next 7 are the Dhatu Vahasratas, the ones that nourish the body. Rasavaha, the channel carrying nutritional essence. Raktavaha, the channel carrying blood. Mamsavaha, the channel of carrying muscle. Medavaha, the channel of carrying fat tissue. Astivaha, the channel carrying bone tissue. Majavaha, the channel carrying bone marrow tissue. Shukravaha, the channel carrying reproductive tissue. Okay, so you have those 7 Dhatu Vahasratas. Then it's the 3 excreting channels. So we have Mutravaha, the channel of carrying urine. Parishavaha, the channel carrying feces or poop. I remember the P for Parisha for poop. And then Swedavaha, the channel of carrying sweat. Okay, and then I wrote down here, so the prana, udaka, and anavaha are all the ones that go inside. The parisha, mutra, and swedavaha, those are all the ones that excrete. And then all dhatu, vahasratas are the ones that nourish the body. And then these are some vocabulary that you may see on the NAMA exam, so I wanted to write it here. So 24 dhamanis, so there are 24 arteries in the body, 700 sira, or blood vessels in the body, and then there's 500 peshi. Those are 500 for the male, 520 for the female, including muscles, lasika, intracellular fluid, body, koshta, and kala submucous membranes. 16 kadara, tendons and fascia, and 72,000 nadis that carry subtle energy or prana, and 107 marma points. There are subtle junction and points in the body. Okay, and now we are going to go over the top right-hand side. It says the origin of Ayurveda. Okay, so Ayurveda means the science of life, and it is considered the most ancient system of medicine. And texts were written between 1500 BC and 400 AD. And it started with the four Vedas. Rig Veda was where Vedic Sanskrit hymns, and it's considered where world's oldest religious texts were written, and cosmology and rituals were started during that time. Samaveda is where melodies and chants started. Yajurveda is where we had mantras, and we had fire ceremonies. Our Tarva Veda was where Ayurveda came from, and its procedures of everyday life. The 6 scriptures for Ayurveda, we have the Brihat Tri. Those are the great treatises, and it was the first one is Charaka Samhita, which covers Kaya Chikitsa, or internal medicine. Sushruta Samhita covers surgery. Ashtanga Hridaya and Ashtanga Sangraha by Vagbita the elder, and the younger covers a school of surgery and physicians. The Laghu Tri, the minor treatises, we have the first one here as Sharangadhara Samhita, which covers pharmaceuticals and alchemy, which is the preparation of metals. And Bhava Prakasha covers pharmacology, and Madhava Nidana covers etiopathology, the events that lead to the expression of disease. And then we have the 8 branches of Ayurveda. So I use this acronym, Pest a Pig, to help remember the 8 branches of Ayurveda. So the P starts for pest. The P starts, the P is for pediatrics. Okay, Bala Roga, or Kumar Bharitya. The E in Pest a Pig for pest is ENT, Shalakya Tantra. And then the S for pest is surgery, Shalya Tantra. And the T for pest is for toxicology, Agada Tantra. And then A for aphrodisiac, Vajikarana. And then the P for pig is for psychology, and Graha. And then the I in pig is for internal medicine, Kaya Chikitsa. And then the G for pig is for geriatrics, rejuvenation, rasayana therapy. So that's how you can very quickly remember pest to pig. And this is actually really helpful, especially in the beginning, because when you are explaining to clients, they may be interested in knowing how much Ayurveda covers. Is there something that could help them or help their child? And you can see, well, there's a whole pediatric section in Ayurveda that talks about the care of children, and just showing that there is a lot to be covered in Ayurveda. And so the 3 causes of disease can be seasons, intelligence, doing things that are knowingly wrong, right? And then the sense objects, maybe there are some things going on with your sense organs. And then the 4 components of healthcare. So this is really important to know, because sometimes they do check your Sanskrit vocabulary on the NAMA exam. And so knowing these terms are really important. Okay, Vishak means physician, Dravya means medicine. Upastata means nurse or attendant, and rogi means patient. Okay, next we're going to go over the Shad Darshanas, the 6 ancient Indian philosophies of the origin of the universe. So I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but I am going to go over the main points that you need to know about those philosophies. Okay, so Sankhya philosophy, how to get moksha or final liberation with complete knowledge of the beginning and the Almighty. The main concepts with Sankhya is that it has 24 elemental building blocks. So I highlighted that. Okay, so we first have Prakriti, which is conscious energy, and Purisha, the self or the spirit. And together they form the Mahat, the causative intelligence. And from there, Ahamakara is the ego or the principle is formed. And then we have Manas, the mind, the knowledge, the learning, the processing, the recalling information. And then from there, we have the 3 qualities of Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. Rajas is translated as excitement, Sattva is translated as balance, and Tamas is translated as inertia. From there, we have the 5 Pancha Karmendriyas, the 5 Panchajendriya Nanis, and then the 5 Tanmantras. So those are the 5 motor organs, the 5 sense organs, and the 5 subtle elements. So the 5 motor organs are the hands, the feet, the urethra, the anus, and the vocal cords, the ones of Rajas, excitement, movement. And the 5 sense organs, the nose, the ears, the skin, the eyes, and the tongue, as sattvic, as balance. The 5 subtle elements as tamas, inertia, is the sound, touch, vision, taste, and smell. And of course, we have the 5 panchamabhutas, the 5 gross elements of space, akasha, air, vayu, earth, prithvi, water, up, fire, agni. And the sense organs associated with space and the subtle elements. So space is the ear and the subtle element is the sound. For air, it is the skin as the organ and the subtle element of touch. For earth, it's the sense organ of the nose and the subtle element of smell. For water, it is the sense organ of the tongue and the subtle element of taste. For fire, it is the sense organ of eyes and the subtle element of sight. And a couple more things that we are covering here. The rasa, or the taste, that helps to balance the doshas. So vata, sweet, sour, and salty, balances vata. For pitta, sweet, bitter, and astringent. And for kapha, spicy, bitter, and astringent. So I feel to memorize these, for vata, sweet, sour, and salty, I just remember it as SSS. For pitta, for sweet, bitter, and astringent, so I remember as base. For me, I just remember it as base. So the B for bitter, the A for astringent, and then the S is for sweet. And I have with the E there, so I remember that it's the S for SE, so sweet. And then for kapha, the spicy, or I usually put it in there as pungent. So with a P, so I remember as BPA. And so I just remember that as like something that's just, for me, it works, and bitter, pungent, and astringent. Okay, and then the qualities, quick refresher of the qualities. So Vata qualities, dry, light, cold, rough, subtle, mobile, and unsteady. Pitta qualities, slightly oily, sharp, penetrating, hot, light, foul smelling, free flowing, and liquidy. Kapha qualities, oily, heavy, cold, slow, sluggish, smoothness, shiny, firm, and stable. And the 20 tattvas, or the 20 qualities, or the gurvadi gunas, the 10 pairs. I highlighted this yellow because this is really important information. So anything that is highlighted yellow needs to be made sure that you are able to review it. But let's continue on. Okay, so the heavy, light, guru, lagu, cold, hot, shita, ushna, oily, dry, snigdha and ruksha, dull, sharp, manda and tikshna, smooth, rough, shlakshna and kara, dense and liquidy, sandra and sara, soft, hard, murdru and katina, static and mobile, stira and chala, mobile and subtle, shtula and shukshma, cloudy and clean, pichila and vishada. And so I wanted to quickly go through all of those terms, and I just wanted to quickly return back to the Shardarshanas, right? So we were going through the 6 philosophies. I went through the Sankhya and the 24 elemental building blocks, and a just quick review of the doshas and the dosha qualities. And now the other ones, Nyaya is the knowledge by justification and evidence, direct perception through inference, comparative evidence, and verbal testimony. And then the Yoga Darshana, yoga controls the senses and the psychological urges. We have Purva Mimamsa, which is a religion of deductive reasoning, and Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta, which is the universe is an illusion. All three define the universe from a spiritual perspective. And there is Vaisheshika, where the nature of reality or the beginning of what exists is composed of 7 padartha, or 7 categories, where it validates the knowledge. So there is the dravyas, or the substances, the gunas, or the qualities, the karmas, or the actions, the samanya, or the inseparable, or the similarity of where like increases like, the vishesha, where variant factors or opposites, samavaya, which is inseparable relationship between objects, and then the abhava, which is the absence of existing substances. Something like where the absence of salty taste in amalaki. So these 6 ancient philosophies all discuss the origins of the universe. What's interesting about Sankhya is that it does not have, or the belief of God in there. It just uses the 24 elemental building blocks that we went through. And I'm not going to continue on. These other things that are on here are just for your knowledge, but they aren't necessarily tested in the NAMA exam. The main concepts we covered here are ones that you really do have to know inside and out, especially the ones that are highlighted in yellow. Okay, and we are going to go on to the next mind map.